Hello everyone, Jacob here. In the last couple of lessons we've been talking about how to say "momomo hagededa" in English. And like I mentioned, there are actually many ways to say "momomo hagededa" in English. We've talked about to get to verb, to come to verb. And now in today's lesson we're going to talk about this structure here, to find oneself plus a verb ing. Okay, and when do we use this? Specifically to talk about something that you do without deciding or intending to do it. Okay, so you do something but without deciding or intending to do it. So let's look at actually the same example that we saw in the last lesson. If you remember, I talked about how I came to like kimchi after living in Korea. And that basically means that I liked it. I started liking it gradually, little by little. At first, I liked it a little bit, or I didn't really like it, but then I ate a little bit more, and I liked it more and more. But if I say, I found myself liking kimchi, I found myself liking kimchi after living in Korea. I found myself liking kimchi. It's more or less the same meaning, to be honest, except whereas when I say I came to like kimchi, it has the meaning more of gradually, little by little. But if I say I found myself liking kimchi, it has this meaning of more that it wasn't really my decision. I didn't intend it. It was almost unexpected. Okay, so there is a bit of a subtle difference between to find oneself plus verb ing and to come to verb, even though you can use both kind of in this same example. So let's go ahead and move on to our new examples, our first new example, which is a bit of a true story. I thought I would like living in New York City, but I found myself hating it. I thought I would like living in New York City. Before I went, I thought New York City was this great, amazing place with big buildings and a lot of exciting people. But when I went there, I found myself hating it. Unexpectedly, without really deciding or intending to hate it, I found myself hating it. Why? Because, well, everything is just so expensive that it's really hard to enjoy your life if you live in New York City and you don't have really a lot of money. So I found myself hating it. Okay? So that's one example. Let's look at another example here. And this too is a little bit related to my life. I didn't like coffee. I didn't like coffee before, but I found myself drinking it. I found myself drinking it a lot after becoming a teacher. This is a really long example. And the reason a lot of these examples are long is that it's kind of important for you to give context when you're using this structure. Find yourself doing something. Otherwise, it just sounds a little bit unclear. I didn't like coffee before. Before, it's true, I never drank coffee. But I found myself drinking it. Without really deciding or intending to start drinking coffee, I found myself drinking it a lot after becoming a teacher. Why? Because if you're a teacher and you're a bit tired or you don't feel so good, you need a little boost of energy before class. So one day I remember I was kind of tired and I was about to go to class, and I just wanted a bit of energy, so I had a cup of coffee. And I started doing this a lot because I needed the energy, and then eventually I found myself drinking it a lot. So again, I didn't decide to do this. I didn't really intend to do this, but I found myself drinking coffee a lot after becoming a teacher. So this is kind of the main way of using this, to find oneself plus an ing verb, but you can actually use it with a few other things. So I'm going to talk about how there's a different ways to use this. So let's go ahead and move down and talk about another way to use this find oneself. You can say to find oneself, to find yourself, to find myself, plus an adjective. Okay, it's not as common, to be honest, and I couldn't think of a lot of examples, so I'm just going to give you one. It is possible, but it's much more common just to use it with an ing verb. But I'm still going to give you an example. I found myself passed out in the street. I found myself passed out in the street after drinking all night. This is not a true story, okay? I have never passed out in the street after drinking all night. But in case you don't know, what does this pass out mean? Pass out means when you drink so much that you just fall asleep. You can say he passed out. It can be used as a verb, or it can be used as an adjective. He is passed out. Okay, I'm passed out. So here we're using it, this found oneself, passed out, with an adjective. So again, I didn't intend to pass out in the street, but I drank so much alcohol that I found myself passed out in the street. Okay, so you can use it with an adjective. You can also use it like this, to find oneself plus a preposition, which in Korean means 정치사, in case you're not aware, plus a preposition plus a place. Okay, so again, this isn't the most common way to use it, but it's possible, so I'm going to go ahead and give you an example. I found myself in the hospital. I found myself in the hospital for 3 days after getting sick. I didn't intend to go to the hospital, actually. I just got sick and I found myself in the hospital. So in this case, we're using find oneself, plus a preposition, plus a place. So I found myself in the hospital for 3 days after getting sick. You'll probably notice how all of these examples are a bit long, right? I'm giving a lot of context. For 3 days after getting sick. I found myself passed out in the street after drinking all night. And it's really important that you give context, because if you just say, I found myself passed out, I'm not really sure what you're talking about, or why that happened. So I would recommend that if you're going to use this structure, find oneself doing something, find oneself passed out with an adjective, or find oneself in a specific place, then I really recommend making sure that you kind of give some context and explain a little bit, why you found yourself, passed out, why you found yourself in the hospital, why you found yourself drinking coffee, why you found yourself hating New York, etc. Okay? Well, so that's basically the explanation of how to use this structure to find oneself, plus an ing verb, an adjective, or a preposition and a place. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I think we're going to go over one or two more ways to say 하게 되다 in English, and then we're going to wrap up this series. So keep watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.